Hello and welcome to Method CRM User Tutorials. My name is Errol and today we are continuing our series on Report Designer. In this video, we're going to look at further customization and multiple series. This is a blank report with a master table of invoice. I'm going to quickly make a chart that shows the invoice amounts by month. In the chart wizard, I'll go to series and delete the second series. Point options next and set value to currency. Over to data, series binding, argument is transaction date and values is amount. Over to axes. This is new. Because the argument is a date, I can change the scale unit. Currently, the axis is by day, and so there are so many tick marks. I want to change the scale so it's just one tick mark per month. So let's just change this to month. Next, I want to format the label so it just gives month and year, not the whole thing. So I'll change the format to custom, and watch as I customize this date. 3 uppercase M's gives me the month, comma 4 lowercase y's, and that gives me the year. Cool. You can see down here what it looks like. Now let's turn off the tick marks. Let me go over to elements and tick marks. I want to turn off the minor tick marks. Next up, the y-axis. I'll select that. And in general format, I'm going to select currency and set the precision to 0. Hit finish and make this graph bigger and preview. Ha! I made a chart in less than a minute. But I have a small problem. There were a number of invoices in February and they all overlap. It would be cool if each month would have the sum of all the invoices. And that's easy to do. Haha, let's go back into the chart wizard and go over to data section and the series binding tab. Now in the value properties, see the binding mode is set to values? We're going to change that to summary function. And then I'm going to hit the ellipsis button so that I can define what this function is. The summary function window pops up. And I'm going to hit the drop down box and look, I can choose a function and I can choose sum. Of course, what do I want the sum of? So I will expand invoice over here on the right and hit amount. Great. Now I'm going to hit OK, hit finish, then click preview. Awesome. Look, it works. Haha. Okay, I'm going to make this even cooler. I'd like to see which of these invoices were paid and which were unpaid. So that means at least 2 series, and we are going to filter those series. Let's go back and into the chart wizard and click on the series section. And let me change the name of our series to paid. Now we're going to filter this data. We're going to go to data and hit series binding. And see this over here? It says data filters. I'm going to click the ellipsis button there. And we get the data filter collection editor. Let's hit add to add a new filter. In the column name, I'm going to find a field called is paid. This is a field with only 2 values, true or false, and it states whether or not the invoice is paid. Since this is the paid invoice series, I want to type in for value, true. Great. Now it will only show the data where the invoice is paid field is set to true. So let's close this and finish and preview this. Ha! I've only been paid twice. That Bob Crenshaw owes me money. Anyway, I'm going to create a second series that shows unpaid invoices. Let's go back to series, and I don't want to create everything from scratch. I'm going to copy the paid series, so I'll hit this copy button down here, and then I'll rename it to unpaid. Go over to data, and let's click the series binding, and then select the unpaid series. The only thing I need to change is the data filter. So let's click the ellipsis button, and over here where the value says true, let's change that to false. Great, now I have a series which shows invoices where is paid is false. In other words, it isn't paid. I'll close this, finish this, and preview. Nice, but you know what would be better? I want to have the bars to be stacked, and then at the top, I want a total of the invoices. That'd be cool. So let's go back to series. I'll change the paid series view type to bar stacked, and then I'll change the unpaid series as well to bar stacked. And now I want to show a total at the top, and so I'm going to make a third series. Since unpaid is selected, I'll just copy that one. And then I'm going to change the series name to total. I'm going to have a different view type though. I'm going to change it to point. And now to set the data, so we're going to go to the data section, click the series binding and select the total series. And all I really need to do is remove the data filters. So I'm going to do that. Cool. This series will now show our invoices, whether paid or unpaid. I'm going to finish this and preview. Huzzah! Look at that! You know, the only thing that would make this better is if I actually had a proper title on this table. You can do that on your own. And that's it! Wow, we are done. In the next video, we will cover auto-created series. That's cool. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the YouTube comments, check our documentation, post on our forums, or you can tweet us at Method CRM. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.